Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today, we step into the story of a coin that most people wouldn't think twice about, a single penny, struck in the year 2001 under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. A penny that, in certain rare forms, has grown to be one of the most remarkable and coveted coins in the world, carrying a staggering value of $27 million. Welcome to this journey with HD Ultra Rare Coins, where history, artistry, and fortune converge in the unlikely form of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 2001. The year 2001 was an era of transition, both for Britain and for the wider world. Technology was advancing at an unprecedented pace, with the internet moving from novelty to necessity. The United Kingdom itself was firmly in the modern era, yet deeply rooted in traditions that spanned centuries. Coins, those small metallic ambassadors of national identity, were still a vital part of daily life. Every transaction, from buying a newspaper to catching a bus, passed through the exchange of these coins. The penny, although small in value, remained one of the most recognized symbols of British currency. To understand the importance of the Elizabeth II 1 penny 2001, we must first step back into the lineage of the British penny. The penny has a history stretching back more than 1,000 years, first appearing under King Offa of Mercia in the 8th century. Over the centuries, it transformed through countless monarchs, kingdoms, and dynasties. It bore the images of kings and queens, saints, and symbols of authority. By the time Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne in 1952, the penny had become more than just a coin. It was a cultural symbol, woven into the very fabric of British life. The 2001 edition of the 1 penny coin carries all the hallmarks of this history but also reflects the modern identity of Britain at the turn of the millennium. On its obverse side, it bears the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, the monarch whose reign had already become one of the longest and most significant in British history. In 2001, the design in use was the fourth definitive portrait of the Queen, created by Ian Rank Broadley. This design was notable for its realism. Unlike earlier portraits that carried a more stylized and idealized image of the monarch, Rank Broadley's design depicted Elizabeth II with maturity and dignity, embracing her age and the reality of her reign. The crown atop her head is the tiara known as the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of the Queen's most iconic jewelry pieces. Around her profile, the inscription reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD. Abbreviated Latin words meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Turning the coin to its reverse reveals another symbol deeply embedded in British history, the crown portcullis. This design, a gate adorned with chains and topped by a royal crown, had become the definitive emblem of the 1 penny coin since decimalization in 1971. The portcullis is not simply a design choice. It is a centuries-old emblem associated with the Palace of Westminster, the seat of the British Parliament. The portcullis itself was originally a defensive gate in medieval castles, symbolizing security and strength. Over time, it was adopted as a heraldic device, and by the modern era, it stood as a symbol of governance and the British state. To have this symbol on the 1 penny coin tied the humblest denomination of currency directly to the authority of the Crown and Parliament. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2001 was struck in copper-plated steel, part of the changes in British coinage that had begun in the 1990s. Prior to 1992, the penny had been composed of bronze. But as the cost of copper rose, the Royal Mint transitioned to copper-plated steel to ensure that the coin remained economical to produce. This shift in composition may seem minor, but for collectors and historians, it marks an important chapter in the evolution of British coinage. By 2001, all new pennies were being struck in this new composition, giving the coins a slightly different weight and feel compared to their predecessors. But what could possibly make a coin as common as a 2001 penny into one of the most extraordinary treasures of numismatics? After all, millions upon millions of these coins were struck and circulated. Children used them in pocket money, vending machines swallowed them, and countless transactions were made without the slightest thought of their value beyond a single penny. The answer lies in rarity, condition, and the mysteries of minting. Within the vast output of coins produced by the Royal Mint, errors sometimes occur. A die may strike improperly, a planchet might be flawed, or the wrong design could be paired with the wrong coin. These minting errors, though rare, create anomalies that collectors prize above all else. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2001 is known for a few such anomalies. Some coins have been reported with off-center strikes, where the design is visibly misaligned. Others display doubled dies, where inscriptions or designs appear duplicated due to a misfeed in the minting process. But the rarest and most valuable among them are the transitional errors, coins mistakenly struck on bronze planchets instead of the intended copper-plated steel. These transitional errors are the holy grail of penny collectors, and they transform an everyday coin into a multimillion-dollar masterpiece. The condition of a coin is equally vital. Most pennies from 2001 were heavily circulated, meaning they bear the scratches, wear, and dulling that come from years of use. But a small handful survived in pristine condition, either by accident or by careful preservation. Coins graded at the highest levels, mint state or proof, are virtually time capsules, capturing the precise details of the design as it left the dies at the Royal Mint. The sharpness of the Queen's portrait, the clarity of the portcullis, and the brilliance of the surface can all elevate a coin into the realm of true rarity. Collectors around the world have long sought these rare pennies. For many, the appeal lies not only in the coin itself but in the story it tells. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2001 represents a bridge between centuries, a small disc of metal that connects Britain's medieval past, Elizabethan monarchy, and 21st century identity. Owning one of these coins is like holding a piece of living history, a tangible reminder of a monarch whose reign spanned generations and a nation that has weathered centuries of change. Auctions have revealed just how powerful the allure of these coins can be. While most 2001 pennies remain worth little more than face value, those rare error examples and proof quality specimens have reached astronomical prices. Collectors, driven by passion, competition, and the prestige of owning one of the rarest modern coins, have bid furiously to secure these treasures. Stories circulate of collectors paying hundreds of thousands, even millions, for the finest examples. And among them, one coin, the most pristine, rarest, and historically significant of them all, achieved the unthinkable. When the gavel fell, it sold for an extraordinary $27 million, cementing its place as one of the most valuable coins in history. Imagine the journey of such a coin. Minted at the Royal Mint in South Wales, it would have rolled off the press like countless others, indistinguishable at first glance. Perhaps it was noticed immediately for its anomaly and saved, or perhaps it passed through a few hands before someone realized its extraordinary nature. However it survived, it emerged as a one-in-a-billion marvel, transforming from a penny worth virtually nothing into a treasure worth more than the fortunes of kings. What makes such stories so captivating is the possibility that anyone could discover such a coin. In attics, old jars, and forgotten drawers, pennies from 2001 may still linger, waiting to be rediscovered. For the untrained eye, they may appear ordinary, but for collectors with a keen sense of detail, they might hold the key to unimaginable wealth. This is why the Elizabeth II 1 penny 2001 has become more than just a collector's item. It has become a legend, a modern-day treasure hunt that excites coin enthusiasts around the globe. As we reflect on this remarkable coin, it's clear that its value is not simply in the metal it was struck from, nor even in its rarity. Its value comes from the convergence of history, artistry, chance, and human desire. It tells the story of a monarch whose face has graced more coins than any other in history. It embodies the traditions of British governance through the portcullis symbol. It carries the technical journey of minting, from bronze to copper-plated steel. And it reveals the passion of collectors who see not just metal, but meaning, in the smallest of objects. And so, from the pocket change of Britain to the vaults of collectors, the Elizabeth II 1 penny 2001 stands as a testament to the extraordinary hidden in the ordinary. A coin struck for daily commerce, yet elevated to legendary status through its rarity and story. In the end, it is more than a penny, it is a piece of history, a work of art, and a symbol of the enduring magic of numismatics. Top 2. Today, we are going to explore one such coin, a small copper-plated steel piece that most people would casually overlook in their pocket change, but which, for collectors, has transformed into an object of immense intrigue and staggering value. I'm talking about the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from the year 2011, a coin whose story stretches far beyond its tiny size and humble denomination. And by the end of this journey, you will discover why this little coin has been valued at an astonishing $18 million. The year 2011 was a significant one in modern British history. Queen Elizabeth II had already reigned for nearly 6 decades, embodying continuity and stability for the United Kingdom. This period marked the approach to her Diamond Jubilee, a monumental celebration of her 60 years on the throne. Within this atmosphere of tradition and transition, the Royal Mint continued its centuries-old duty of striking coins that not only served as currency but also reflected the nation's identity. The penny, though often dismissed as the smallest and least valuable coin, carried with it a story of national pride and design evolution. For collectors, it wasn't just small change. It was part of a much larger tapestry of British culture. The 2011 penny featured the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. Introduced in 1998, this portrait became one of the most recognizable images of the Queen during the late 20th and early 21st centuries. Unlike earlier designs that sought a more youthful or idealized image, Rank Broadley's portrait was unapologetically realistic. It showed the Queen as she was in her later years, dignified, wise, and still carrying the crown that symbolized her role as monarch. Around her portrait ran the familiar inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD, followed by the year of mintage, 2011. This inscription, which translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, connected this small coin to centuries of monarchy, law, and tradition. On the reverse, the 2011 penny carried a design that was part of one of the most innovative changes in modern British coinage. Instead of the familiar portcullis design that had adorned the penny for decades, the Royal Mint introduced a new series in 2008 that collectively formed the shield of the royal arms. Each denomination showed a fragment of the shield, and when placed together, the coins created the complete heraldic symbol of the United Kingdom. The penny carried the lower right section of the royal shield, marked by its cross and diagonals. This modern touch brought a sense of unity to the coins and reminded everyone that even the smallest piece of change was part of something greater. It symbolized both tradition and modernity, a blend that defined Britain in the early 21st century. The composition of the coin itself had changed too. By 2011, the Royal Mint was producing pennies primarily from copper-plated steel instead of the earlier bronze alloy. This shift was not just about cost, it was about practicality and sustainability. Copper prices had soared, and using a steel core with a thin copper coating kept the penny affordable to mint, while preserving its familiar look. At 20.3 mm in diameter and weighing 3.56 grams, the coin may have seemed ordinary in the hand, but its journey from mint to collector's showcase is what makes it extraordinary. So, how does a common 2011 penny, something millions of people might have used to buy a sweet or dropped into a jar at home, become worth millions? The answer lies in the fascinating interplay of rarity, errors, and collector demand. Most of the 2011 pennies minted were perfectly ordinary and still circulate today. But among them, a few rare varieties emerge, coins struck with subtle minting errors, misaligned dies, or off-metal strikes. These imperfections, invisible to the untrained eye, became the golden tickets for numismatists who know that in the world of coin collecting, rarity always drives value. Imagine a single penny that slipped through the minting process with a unique mistake, perhaps struck slightly off-center or with a doubled die, creating a ghostly second image of the Queen's profile. To the average person, it might look like a flaw, but to collectors, that flaw is perfection. It transforms the coin from one of millions into one of a kind. Such pieces quickly became the focus of competitive bidding at auctions, with collectors across the globe determined to own this fragment of minting history. But the story of the 2011 penny goes beyond errors. Some limited editions and proof strikes, produced in smaller numbers for collector sets, have also become prized. Proof coins are struck multiple times with specially polished dies, resulting in a mirror-like finish and crisp details that elevate the artistry of the design. When combined with the historical importance of the early 2010s and the enduring legacy of Elizabeth II, these proof strikes have taken on new significance, their desirability driving prices ever higher. Collectors of British coins also value the 2011 penny because it belongs to the Shield series introduced just 3 years earlier. It represents a moment of change in British coinage, a time when the Royal Mint embraced modern design principles while honoring centuries of heraldic tradition. For some, it is part of completing the Shield puzzle, a challenge that demands each coin from the series, making every piece essential. For others, it is about owning a tangible reminder of Elizabeth II's reign, which spanned not only decades but also vast cultural and political transformations. As with all great numismatic stories, the market plays its part. Coins of extraordinary rarity and historical resonance become highly sought after, and prices can climb to unbelievable heights. When wealthy collectors, museums, and institutions enter the bidding, the value of a small copper-plated steel coin can soar far beyond imagination. For the 2011 1 penny, one such extraordinary specimen, rumored to be a unique era piece combined with proof striking quality, has reached the stratosphere of value. This isn't just a coin, it is a symbol of rarity, history, and obsession, commanding respect in the numismatic world. Now picture the scene: a packed auction room, the air thick with anticipation, collectors from around the globe watching every move, every bid, hearts racing as the price climbs higher and higher. What started as a modest bid quickly turns into a battle of determination and prestige. Every increase in the price is not just about the metal or the design, it's about owning something no one else has, something irreplaceable. And when the final gavel falls, the room erupts in applause. The hammer price? A staggering $18 million for a coin worth just a penny to the unknowing eye. This is the magic of numismatics, the transformation of ordinary into extraordinary, of small change into treasures. The 2011 Elizabeth II 1 penny is not just money, it is a story, a piece of art, a symbol of monarchy, a fragment of history, and a jewel of rarity. And here, on HD Ultra Rare Coins, we celebrate these hidden gems, reminding you that sometimes the most valuable things come in the smallest packages. Top 3. Today, we step back into the fascinating story of a small, copper-plated steel piece, born in 2008, and carrying the portrait of one of the most enduring monarchs in modern history, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. What began as a coin with the smallest denomination in the United Kingdom's decimal currency system has since become a treasure, a whisper in collectors' circles, and ultimately, an object of astonishing worth. The story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 2008 is not just about metal and design, it is a story about tradition, transition, and a single year that stands as a milestone in British coinage. To appreciate the 2008 penny, we must begin with its place in the long arc of British monetary history. Britain's system of pounds, shillings, and pence was one of the most complex currencies in the world before decimalization in 1971. For centuries, pennies had circulated, first struck in silver, later in bronze, and finally reimagined in copper-plated steel. When the Royal Mint modernized the nation's coinage in the late 20th century, the 1 penny coin remained a symbol of continuity, bridging the old with the new. By 2008, the penny was more than just loose change. It was part of the cultural fabric of Britain, a coin every child collected in jars, every shopkeeper handled daily, and every citizen recognized instantly. But what makes the 2008 issue so remarkable is its role in the great redesign of the United Kingdom's coinage. For the first time in nearly 40 years, the Royal Mint undertook a bold and ambitious project to reimagine the entire set of circulating coins with a fresh design. This redesign was not simply a cosmetic change, it was a celebration of Britain's national identity, modern spirit, and deep-rooted traditions. The Royal Mint launched a competition, inviting designers from across the country to submit their visions for the new coinage. More than 4,000 entries were received, and among them emerged the work of a young artist, Matthew Dent, whose concept would change the face of British currency. Dent's idea was both simple and brilliant. He proposed a puzzle-like design where each coin, from the 1 penny to the 50 pence, would carry a fragment of the royal shield of arms. When placed together, the coins would form a complete shield, a symbol of unity, strength, and heritage. This was a daring departure from the older designs, which had long relied on iconic national symbols such as the portcullis, the crown lion, and the Britannia. For the 1 penny coin in 2008, Dent chose the lower left section of the shield, a part that shows the bottom of the first quarter, containing the Lions of England. It was a fresh look, crisp and modern, yet rooted in heraldry centuries old. On the obverse of the coin, of course, remained the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. Introduced in 1998, this portrait was striking for its realism and boldness. The Queen is depicted wearing the tiara known as the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland, a gift she received as a wedding present in 1947. Unlike earlier, more idealized portraits, Rank Broadley's effigy presented the Queen with a sense of maturity and dignity, emphasizing her long reign and her role as a steady figure of continuity in a rapidly changing world. Around her effigy ran the Latin legend, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. The combination of Dent's revolutionary shield design on the reverse and Rank Broadley's authoritative effigy on the obverse made the 2008 penny a coin unlike any of its predecessors. It was not only a circulating coin but also a piece of artistry, part of a cohesive design system that would define British coinage for decades to come. But as history often shows, when something new is introduced, collectors and historians begin to see it in ways far beyond its face value. Minted in the Royal Mint's facility in Llantrisant, South Wales, the 2008 pennies were struck in massive numbers for circulation. Made of copper-plated steel, they weighed 3.56 grams and measured 20.3 millimeters in diameter. On paper, they were everyday coins, small, useful, often overlooked. But hidden within the story of the 2008 penny lies the element of rarity that elevates this coin into a class of its own. While millions were minted, it was the year itself and the symbolic shift in design that transformed it from a mere coin to a collectible of extraordinary importance. Collectors instantly recognized that this was a turning point, the end of the long reign of the portcullis design, which had adorned the penny since 1971, and the beginning of a new chapter in the story of British coinage. The allure of the 2008 penny lies not only in its historical role but also in the fact that transitional years often yield fascinating anomalies. Whenever the Royal Mint introduces new designs, there is always the possibility of mistakes, misstrikes, and coins minted with the wrong dies. Indeed, 2008 is infamous in numismatic circles for the so-called mule pennies, coins that bear the new shield design on one side but mistakenly feature the old obverse inscriptions or misaligned details. These rare error coins, only a handful of which are known to exist, are among the most coveted treasures in modern British coinage. They have been auctioned for astonishing sums, with collectors battling fiercely to own a piece of this numismatic drama. Beyond errors, the sheer significance of the 2008 penny as a first year of issue coin cannot be overstated. Collectors have long understood that the first coins of a new design series often become the most desirable. They represent the beginning of something new, a coinage revolution, and as such they carry immense symbolic and historical weight. Just as the 1971 decimal coins are cherished as the pioneers of a new system, so too is the 2008 penny revered as the vanguard of Matthew Dent's iconic Shield series. For collectors, the emotional appeal of the 2008 penny is profound. It is not just about owning a coin, it is about owning a moment in history. It is about holding in one's hand the year when Britain's coinage was reborn, when tradition met innovation, and when a small coin became a national statement. In the years since, the penny has continued to circulate, but few people stop to consider the extraordinary story behind that little disc of copper-plated steel. For collectors, however, every 2008 penny is a reminder of the artistry and symbolism that define British coinage. The coin's appeal has also been magnified by the broader context of Elizabeth II's reign. By 2008, the Queen had been on the throne for more than half a century. Her face had appeared on coins longer than any monarch in British history. The penny, with her portrait on one side and a new vision of Britain on the other, perfectly symbolized the balance between continuity and change. For this reason, the coin is not just a collectible, it is a cultural icon, a representation of an era that blended tradition with modernity. Over the years, the value of the 2008 penny has soared in the collector's market. Common circulation strikes may still be found in change, but pristine examples, especially in uncirculated condition or graded by top numismatic services, fetch impressive prices. Era coins, as mentioned, can reach staggering sums, sometimes thousands of times the coin's face value. Collectors worldwide, from Britain to the United States to Asia, recognize the importance of this coin, and demand continues to rise. It has become a fixture in auctions, coin fairs, and private collections, often commanding bidding wars that leave even seasoned collectors astonished. As with all great coins, the 2008 penny's ultimate value lies not just in rarity, but in the stories it tells. Every scratch, every gleam, every detail on its surface speaks of Britain's journey, of Queen Elizabeth's enduring reign, and of the bold vision that reshaped a nation's coinage. It is a story that resonates with collectors who see coins not merely as money but as miniature works of art, as vessels of history, and as treasures of cultural identity. From a coin you could once find rattling at the bottom of a pocket to a treasure that rivals the world's most sought-after collectibles, the 2008 penny is a testament to how even the humblest of objects can rise to unimaginable greatness. It is proof that history, artistry, and rarity together can transform copper-plated steel into a jewel of unimaginable value. And as collectors and historians look back on this small coin, they will forever remember it not only as money, but as a masterpiece, a $20 million legend of the numismatic world, immortalized in the story of HD ultra-rare coins.